Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we assemble to explore the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 1 minute at a time. In this, our 6th season, we are looking at the Avengers. I'm Andy Nelson from the Next Reel Film Podcast.
And I'm Pete Wright, and today, I'm Hawkeye, and I'm horny for destruction.
Today we're talking about Minute 109, which begins with fish in a barrel and ends with more fish in a barrel. Back on the show, we have Ryanne Bennett from Black Girl Nerds. Hello, Ryan.
Hello. Pete, what kind of introduction? Like, what am I supposed to say to that? I mean, hi, guys? Like, I don't really... Like, what?
You and me both, Ryan.
I mean, I got nothing. Like, I don't have my cards ready. I don't have my punchlines ready.
No, look, Ryan, if you have a comeback for one of those, then I have failed. So...
A+, my friend. A+.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
So good. This minute starts with, we're ending all that destruction we had from yesterday. And then we have what I think has to be Cap's most Batman voice. Because when he says, they're fish in a barrel down there, like it really sounds like he's trying to channel Bruce Wayne in that particular moment. It's the funniest thing to listen to him because I really think like this is my moment for my voice. Like I really think that was going through Chris Evans' head. I'm going to do the voice here. And he probably had this argument with the director over and over. Should I do my voice? No. Can I do my voice now?
Are you ready for the voice yet?
I'm going to do my voice here. No, we really rather you not.
You realize I don't even have control of the voice anymore. It's just going to come out. It's just going to happen.
We're fish in a barrel down here. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. This minute really features our non-supers. This is a chance to get to see Nat and Clint, actually working as superheroes. We don't get to see Nat using her those. I
think she gets it. We see that later. She uses it again later.
What we get exactly is her using guns, and eventually in this minute we do get to see Clint using some bow and arrow action. Ryan, in the scope of the Avengers, how do these two play for you? Do you like these two as part of the team as non-supers?
I think I like them as a team. I feel like, I would say I would go with Natasha over Clint. Only because I've seen like the full Black Widow movie. You haven't seen it at this point. So at this point, you're thinking, okay, these two make a good combination. Like they kind of bounce off each other. She has the guns and the other weapons and she always flipping somewhere and he's got like, as much arrows as he can carry and shoot at one time. So they can kind of take them out as a team. But individually, I've always it always bothers me when it comes to Clint because I'm like, or Hawkeye, because I'm like, why don't they I feel like they need a better system with the arrows. Because they always look so cool at a moment, but I always feel like he has to go around and pick another one up or grab some more. But you know what I mean? Like that's always been my thing with Hawkeye. But I mean, it looks super cool when he gets the first one off and like the things he can do with the arrows. It looks amazing. But I'm always like, he runs out of ammo.
And he doesn't run out enough. Like, I feel like that's the thing. Like, they do let him run out of arrows at one point, which is a testament to the movie because often archers don't have trouble with arrows. They just are always there. We don't need to see them picking them up. And here he does run out. But I feel like I'm looking at those arrows in his sheath there, and there are not enough arrows for what's coming out of the sky hole.
Yeah.
And so that's problematic. I do love, you're right, what he can do with them. I think, showcasing, giving us the close-ups on how the actual mechanism works is fantastic. Like, more of that, the better. And, just giving him and Natasha a chance to do their thing behind the tossed cab, just like the sort of file footage that we saw earlier in the movie, I think is cool. Like, I like seeing it. And I'm such a, like, again, I don't need to say it. I'm in the bag for Jeremy Renner. I think he's a really cool and charismatic guy. And so I am in favor of him. Wish he had more to do.
I think that's largely it. Like, it is cool seeing them do things. Like, they definitely seem like they've been trained, and I know as Fury said earlier in the film, or she said, we've never been trained for anything like this. Okay, so they've never been trained for anything like this, but still, they come down here and face it head on, and that alone is a pretty impressive feat, And at this point, we have Nat using her two handguns, And we do get to see kind of the cool quiver mechanism that Clint has, the way that he can push buttons on his bow, and that shifts the arrowheads in his quiver, and so he can pick which arrowhead he's going to shoot with.
I would like to see an error, like a Bluetooth error. Like, I'd like to see what happens when the bow loses connection to the quiver.
Right, he has to manually turn it. Right.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. But it plays well. It is a fun little moment that we have with the two of them here as they're starting to kind of play super and do some of the cool stuff that they do.
Is Hawkeye's line here, Cap? It would be my genuine pleasure. I mean, he's really leaning in. He's trying to get like every bite out of that line. Is it a bit much?
Well, okay, Ryan.
Maybe not even performatively, but maybe overwritten. I leave it to you.
Man, I don't know. Jeremy Renner plays his character so well for me that I feel like maybe he's trying to soak it in because I feel like throughout this he doesn't get enough screen time. Until they get to like the series, you barely see him get like enough, meat in the story to really dive in. Although he does seem like that guy that wants to like, I know I just have no arrows, but I still want to show up like everybody else. Like I still can make this happen. Like he makes you believe in that aspect of it. So I think when I first heard it, I didn't think about it. But, now it's like, he was trying to soak in that moment because that was his moment.
This is him officially like becoming an Avenger, I suppose, in the film, right? I mean, he already kind of did the hero walk and everything, but this is his chance to actually say the cool line and say, yeah, now I'm going to start using my cool weapon because I'm official now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're getting with that line here. And I suppose there's a bit of that line that comes from this is a person who had been had his mind controlled by Loki for the bulk of the film. And as he said, like he's ready. Like I can't remember specifically what he said was when he was in the infirmary, but he was like ready to take Loki down and would do everything he could. And so this kind of comes out as his final response to say, I'm really seriously ready to get into the fray and take some of these guys down now.
Yeah.
And he does. We see him use his quiver. He picks an arrow, and this is the burst shot arrow. It's a special arrow. It contains multiple secondary projectiles. It hits this Chitauri in the face, and then all of these secondary projectiles shoot out of it in a circular pattern, hitting anything that's nearby. And just by doing this one thing, he's able to take out 3 other Chitauri, or I guess just 2 other Chitauri. One, it looks like he gets hit, but it's just him dodging behind or jumping in behind the cab.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's cool, and it's kind of fun to see the way that these things work. And this is the sort of thing we're going to get from him now on, not just the boring arrows.
But not to be upstaged by Hawkeye. We get the Captain America triple jump, y'all.
Yeah.
Yes. So Steve leaps off of they're on Park Avenue, the overpass there. He jumps down.
This shot, though, what do we think of this shot? This is the hero shot for Cap, the hero jumping shot. I think he's had one in everything he's done.
There's a lot of video game jumping in this bit. Ryan, what do you think of Steve and the way that this whole scene plays out?
I mean, he's not running, so it's redeemable, right? Like, it's like, yeah, let's go. Like, he looks like he gets to land instead of run across, well, if he's running, but things are exploding. So you're not really paying attention to it.
I laugh, though, because not so much this first part, the run off of the bus, and then he jumps onto that car just as it blows up, and he kind of uses its momentum as it's flipping over to kind of jump up and do his own little roll. I mean, it's kind of
that's the one.
Kind of fun, yeah.
That's the one I like so much because it's just like when that cannon goes off underneath that car and he is propelled in the air and is able to stick the landing and keep running. Superhero moment. Like, cut that for the trailer. It's amazing. And so I don't, it's like there's so many things that I'll have to, just in the last deleted scene minute, how stupid it is having him lying on the pavement and being able to leap up vertically, like prone 6 feet in the air. I don't care about that stuff. This is awesome. This gets my hero juices flowing with the flame in the background. Like, I'm a very simple person when it comes to this kind of hero effect, and I am absolutely here for it. It's fantastic. it might be eye rolling, but it's the best kind.
Yeah, it makes him look indestructible. You like that. Anytime you have that moment, this is where everybody goes out and buys their Captain America uniform. Because they're like, dude, I can bounce off of cars. No matter what's exploding behind me.
Yeah.
I just keep running. It doesn't matter.
It's one of those moments that the only thing I think that could have made it better. I mean, the explosion behind him as he jumps off the bus, that is perfect. The leap off that car that's flipping is perfect. The only thing that could have made it better is if when he was in midair in that point, is if he could have thrown his shield and hit that Chitauri that passes by. Like that would have just made it that much better. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that would have been awesome. Yeah.
I thought maybe you were going to say he would jump off and actually land on the skiff. I think that would just let him keep going. Man in motion.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Yeah.
That takes us back to Nat and Clint. Nat is doing her 2 handguns as she's shooting at the various Chitauri. We swing the camera over and reveal that Clint is busy helping people out of the bus. This is so funny because he's helping people through a broken window of the bus initially. And then it cuts back and he's just like, oh, you know what? I'll just pull the door open so everyone can get out.
Door!
It's like, why are you doing the window? Just go to the door in the first place.
I have to imagine the only reason that he's doing that is because the door was jammed without his merely human heroic strength, and somebody was feeding him children through the window. Right? That's what I have to say.
Stop putting the children through the window.
I'm trying kids in the window.
Open the door. What's interesting, and I don't know if there had been more here, but the bus as we see it, as he's pulling people through the window, the side of the bus is pretty clean. Like the door is completely white and it's pristine. When we cut back and we see him pulling the door open, the door has been hit and it's all black and singed. And it does make me wonder if there had been more of a scene here before he finally pulls the door open.
Yeah, that's a great point. Continuity.
Yeah.
Continuity failure.
But again, things are happening so fast. It's like nobody notices until you're talking about it 1 minute at a time.
Yep.
Right.
I just thought he wanted a real buff moment, like I'm about to open this door. Give me my moment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not a super. I don't care.
He's like, no, I want to do this moment. I mean, Captain America just bounced off a car. Give me something, people.
Okay, Hawkeye, you can open a door.
Yes. I mean, listen, Pete, you got to take what you can get. I mean, you can't just, you can't pass this moment up. You got to take what you can get. I mean, you got Natasha, you got Black Widow with her 2 guns. I mean, she's looking powerful in this moment.
Oh, yeah.
He flipped off a car. It's like, you can't just be handing little kids out the window. Come on now, you gotta lift some stuff up.
That's right, lift stuff up. What I like is that cut after he takes care of the little boy. We get one shot of a Chitauri going down, and then Hawkeye's suddenly back behind the cab. Where was the bus? I thought the bus was down below on the lower level.
That was a bus that blew up. This is a different bus that's up on the,
different bus
upper
that's right
level.
Immediately behind him.
Yeah, somewhere up there, I guess. Yeah.
According to this edit, it's 5 feet away.
Yeah, it seems like it's very close. I'm not exactly sure because I don't recall.
We do get it again at 47 seconds. It's right behind him. Okay, well done. You did fine, team. You made the movie.
But it's one of those things when they now I have to look because you brought this whole thing up.
Yeah, I was going back too. I was like, what?
Yeah, when we see Steve, the 3 of them in their hero shot as the Leviathan first comes down, I was trying to remember if there was a bus at that particular point, and I don't think that if it was there, I just don't recall it. Not to say that it wasn't there at some point, but when they come running around, is there a bus here? There's a taxi, there's a flipped over car. There is no bus. So I don't know where the bus comes from.
That's a magic bus.
It's the magic bus from the kids' show.
Magic school bus.
Everybody get on the magic bus.
Yeah, what's that magic school bus, the show? Yeah. Or is it the Who or is it the kids' show? Which magic bus are we talking about?
I was talking about the kids' show.
I was going for the Who, but that dates me.
I think, well, I would go with The Who also, but the kids show, like my kids watch that show all the time. So I think about that one a lot too.
My kids only watch The Who.
Regardless, we have Nat blasting with her 2 handguns at these things. And there's, for a film that's relatively bloodless, other than like when we have the, Coulson's blood smeared on the wall, we do get some Chitauri. I don't know if it's blood or Chitauri goo, but when she shoots the one right in the face, and we see just like some like black ooze like kind of spurt out. It's kind of a little gruesome, and I guess we get away with it because it's Chitauri stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It even hits the lens, like we get Chitauri blood on the lens in that shot.
Yeah, I'm never quite sure what they're doing with that. Breaking the wall with the lens goo.
I just like that it looks like they're destructive, like somebody can destroy them. Because I feel like you don't really get to see it. You feel like they're fighting against something, but you don't really get to see it in that way, where it's like something just straight through them. Like they're just tearing all the street up and the people. And it's like, oh, so this gun can take them out too, like that, like blast them through, because to me, they look very indestructible all the time, like just flying around, flying into buildings.
Well, and this is interesting because we saw all these Chitauri land on the building. They popped off their umbilical cords, as one does, and they kind of clamber down the side of the building there. This building that they're coming down from goes an entire story below this street that they're on. This is kind of a raised street that they're on. And it's interesting because there is a Chitauri, like right after that one gets shot in the head, right about 43 seconds, you can actually see deep in the background, it looks like a Chitauri leaping up from the level below onto this overpass here. It's kind of a weird, I guess they're very agile too, because this one, literally, it looks like it's just leapt from the ground behind.
Oh.
I don't know if either of you see that, but it's about 43 seconds in. But this Chitauri comes like leaping over the side of the byway there.
Oh, yeah.
I see it. Yeah, right after Busboy.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, they're very spry, Chitauri.
Well, they're climbing buildings. I guess, they describe them as insect-like, and I suppose that kind of all ties into the nature of the insect.
Yeah, like you kill one, another one jumps up. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That brings us to our Budapest line, and this is kind of the moment about Budapest that we have between Clint and Nat that's never really brought out more than this. And but it's a nice little character moment as Natasha, just like Budapest all over again, and Clint's response, you and I remember Budapest very differently. What did you think of the way that this kind of exchange works between our two characters? Do you like the way it gives us some backstory?
Yeah, I like it. I always like the dialogue in between the fighting, because it's so much like explosions and you don't really hear a lot of stuff. And for them to have that moment where it's like, oh, okay, we're still shooting these things. Oh, this reminds me of something else we used to do. And he's like, what? No. Like, what are you talking about? Like them having that little like, fighting agreement while they're like trying to beat off the Centauri. But yeah, I don't know. I always like their banner with each other. I feel like they always had that tight relationship that it's like only the two of them understand. And we get like little glimpses and stuff of like what their world is like and their connection and everything, which I think is well played. Like as you continue to go through like the Avengers journey, I think is always well played.
Yeah, I think so too. And I just love that they, it's a sign, even though they're humans, they're so adept at what they do that they have time to have casual conversation while they're killing alien creatures. That's awesome.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I do like it. And I like that we have these bits of history between the two of them that feel like actual history. Like I don't feel like we ever need to actually know these stories. There's something about the way that they've chosen to kind of craft these two characters that I just enjoy these moments that give us a sense of their history, not just together, but also as people who go out and on these crazy missions. So I think it works really well.
Yeah. For sure.
We go back to Cap from here, and this is another of his kind of video game side scrolls that he does as we're following him very handheld, running down the street and leaping over cars. It's very super the way that he's doing all of his stuff, very parkour. I will say the leap that he does off of the kind of the hood of the silver car, and then he kind of does the I don't know, just kind of a panther leap almost. Like he puts his hands down on the top of the cab and then jumps down to the ground. Weirdly, that movement that he does, obviously not at the time of this film, but now, it always reminds me of James McAvoy as the Beast in Split.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the way that he does that leap there just feels very, very kind of Predator-like. It's a weird moment for Cap.
It's a weird moment, but it's also, I mean, it's just good because it just, redefines his athleticism in spite of some of the more cartoonish kind of moves that they give him. And it's a little bit of a redefinition, especially because we just came off of 2 minutes ago where he runs out and it looks like he's running on stage at a USO show. And yet here he's doing something that is actually like commanding physical performance. So to me, it works. It really works. And I've always wanted to be able to do that stuff.
Ryan, do you like it?
Yeah, you know what? It reminds me, since you mentioned the whole, the cat part of the Panther-like of it, it reminds me of like something more enhanced in Black Panther. Like, obviously it's
Sure,
more
yeah.
crafted and, done differently, with Chadwick Boseman doing it, but it reminds me of that. Like, they're very predatorial, they're very agile, where they can, like, helps them get over, like, the cards and the explosions a lot easier, where they land correctly. So now seeing him do that, it's kind of like, wow, I didn't know he did that in the first Avengers, because I'm so used to seeing it, from Black Panther and in different ways now, that it's kind of interesting that they throw that move in there for him. But I think I like how he comes off of that jump into that, the way he lands on the taxi in front of him that's turned over and pops off. That to me feels more Cap. The way he continues there, to me feels like more like him there.
Right. Like as he kind of runs up that underside or the flipped over cab, it just feels like his movement seems very agile as he's doing it. Yeah, I love all of that. It's an incredibly cool little bit. The one thing that I really am impressed with is that in this moment, like, his shield is still on his arm, as opposed to, like, as we've seen in the last film, he could put it on his back. But when he's running, like, you can barely see his right hand below his shield, but somehow he still is able to bend his arm and use his hand in ways where his shield is not interfering. And I just find that really impressive, that it ends up kind of working as well as it does in those moments,
Yeah. It's not clumsy.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
He can use it. Like, I would, if that were me, that arm would have become completely useless because I couldn't get my hand down in time,
Right.
Like, dang it, the shield.
Thank God you're a podcaster. I mean, serious detriment to our armed forces you'd be.
I'm just the worst.
We're in it together, man.
That's right. Oh, well, this is pretty much the end of the minute. Ryan, this is our last chance to chat with you this season. Any last thoughts about this movie or anything within this minute that you'd like to talk about?
Man, I'm glad you guys have me on for these. I love coming in for these because you forget, like, when you go back to the old films, you just kind of like, I always have this thing where there's a new movie coming out. I want to go back and watch all of them, but you don't really like break it down, like, and realize the little like nuances and things they did to the characters to kind of really transform them. But it kind of makes you appreciate like the stories we get of these characters now, and kind of like, how for some of them the story ended, for some of them we don't really know because it's Marvel. But, to really see them adventure from here. But yeah, it was great to see like how they gave us, like, in this moment, we were like, oh, these are like, they can't get better than this, right? Like, this is the Avengers. They're not going to go up anybody, crazier than this. Like, these, like, and the kids jumping off the alien mom and everything, like, it doesn't get any wilder, but it does. It is so amazing to see, like, how they kept, like, one-upping themselves. But yeah, I love that this battle here with them was like endless, and you get to see everybody's, like, whether it's like forced, they can't run if it's too over the top, but everybody had their moment of like, this is what they're bringing to the team. This is how we're going to defeat this. And it's just like, it feels long now that we're kind of breaking it down minute by minute. You're like, man, who is cleaning up this city when they get done? But as a fan, like, when you're watching it, you're like, oh so man, this is cool. Like, so many places for my eyes to go and so many different explosions and everything. So yeah, this was awesome.
Well, we love talking with you, and I'm always going to now be thinking about the Leviathan and all the Chitauri as the kids and their mom.
Dropping the kids off downtown. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep, the kids and their mom. Drop the kids off. There's more kids.
I have a report from earlier in the minute.
Oh.
And it's about, guess what? It's about the bus. So in minute 108 at second 43, when Cap, after the deleted scene, Cap runs up to the back of the cab, it's at the totally wrong angle, but it's the same bus. It has the same Alvin Ailey poster on the side of it. And it's in the shot. It's not behind Hawkeye and Natasha. It's in front of them. Like he's peeking over the cab at some destruction on the other side of the cab, and the bus is on the other side of the cab in the direction he's looking, but it's the same bus. So at least there is bus. Bus is present on that level in some proximity to them in minute 108. There you go. Solved.
Nice detective work.
Excellent.
So stupid that we're talking about that.
Hey, these are the things we live for. And it's right in front of Grand Central Terminal because you can see the columns right there as well, which is, it's just funny because in that shot of the three of them running up to the front of Grand Central Terminal, like I just don't see it, but it is entirely possible it's behind the giant fireball. There is an explosion in that minute too. So
there's some blocking and staging confusion at least, but at least the bus is in proximity of our characters because otherwise there's no way Hawkeye could get from where he was, saving boy in the window, back to cab.
Yeah, right. Well, and this also just speaks to how much editing and rearranging and stuff they were doing here, because then we had that deleted scene. That is an entire little story thread that sends Cap away from these two and then has to find his way back to them. So, yeah, it's just, there is a lot of things happening that I'm sure as they were trying to piece this whole thing together, they were trying to figure out how does it all make the most sense? And that's where we're left.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic having you join us, Ryan. We certainly appreciate it. Tell everybody again about Black Girl Nerds.
Yes, we are all about, online publications, multimedia, expressing our thoughts as Black women and giving you a different perspective. We have new episodes of our audio podcast every Monday. And we are also doing recaps on our YouTube page. So make sure you subscribe to Black Girl Nerds on all social media so you don't miss anything. And again, you guys, I appreciate it so much. I'm going to be forever looking at Cap's walk and run and anything now. Like I'm going to just be fixated on it. Of course, with any aircraft, of course, throwing that in there as well. So
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Well, it has been a blast. Thank you again for joining us this season. Always great talking with you, Ryan. And we are certainly looking forward to future conversations about aircraft and destruction.
Yes, destruction.
Should be fun. All right. Well, we'll be back with a different guest tomorrow. Dr. Arnold T. Blumberg will be in the house joining us to chat a little bit. So should be fun. And that's it for today. So, Pete, thanks as always.
Andy, tomorrow, Cap's going to tell us what to do.
Yes, he is, and we'll like it. Until next time, true believers.
Marvel Movie Minute is a production of True Story FM, engineering by Andy Nelson. This season's music is Message to the World by Anthony Vega, and this season's show art is by Winston Yabo. Find the show at truestory.fm. If your podcast app allows ratings and reviews, please consider doing that for our show.